The concern is not whether you're going to traumatize them or not to traumatize. That's a wrong way of looking at things. New Zealand events, they are troubling, they are traumatizing to kids. New Zealand event just is one event. Never before something like that had happened. Every day, things are happening to Muslims. Every day, things are happening to non-Muslims. Every day, things are happening to good people. Why is that not traumatizing to the kids? It should be. But the idea is that not to take all these things and to make them to become traumatized. The idea is for them to know that these things happen, and it happens for a reason. And this is a part of life. What are you going to say now? The stories of the saints and the prophets, they're traumatizing? The first martyr in Islam was an old woman, and they tie one leg to one camel and the other leg to another camel facing opposite direction, and they rip her apart. Oh, we don't like those stories for our children. You're not then raising them properly to say that when you are in the way of haqq, you are going to be tested. That's not trauma. That's being tested. And what that testing is going to do to you is going to make you to become stronger. So those things happen in New Zealand. What are you going to say? A bad man entered, yes. And he killed those people, yes. And this is something that has been repeated for over 1,400 years. The bad people always come, and they're going to punish, and they're going to be cruel to the good people. It happens. Now, we must look, and we must ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, number one, not only to say, may He protect us. You understand? Because that is also running away from the reality. That means that those things happen to people because Allah did not protect them. So how are you approaching now the idea of trouble or trauma or suffering in Islam? Because you are pulling people away, always your children away from any kind of reality. Right now, there are kids that are being bombed. Right now, there are kids that are being shot at. Right now, all these things are happening just because they're Muslims. What is it that we now have to show the children? You have to say how those ones who are going through difficulty, they're going through that difficulty the same way that the prophets are going through difficulty. And Allah is loving the prophets and those ones who go through difficulty for His sake. And this world, the difficulty of this world and the pain and suffering of this world passes, and it's nothing compared to the eternal happiness and the eternal blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to put people in for those who are going through difficulty for His sake. You feel pain today, it goes, it disappears. It's not going to stay. This world is not going to stay. The pain of this world is not going to stay. The happiness of this world is not going to stay. But Allah is going to put those ones who are strong in His way. He never leaves them. And what they are going to get for eternity, for forever, is something that their heart desires, something that is so beautiful and so nice. But those ones that they are not respecting Allah, and they are being in the way of shaitan, and they are giving problems and suffering to Muslims, non-Muslims, animals, this planet, if they are cruel, they are going to be punished heavily. And their punishment is going to be forever to long time. We should not be afraid. Allah is saying, we are going to test you. So when you are looking, again, any event that happens, look to the life of the Prophet and the lives of the Sahabi Kiram. If you don't, then you are going to look at the lives of just the people around you, and you're going to base that on whether it's good or it's bad, according to that. Then you're going to fall. Allah make it easy, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. This is the other thing also. We just passed by Chanakala. We just finished that. We are remembering that. When you're remembering that, what are we remembering? Are we remembering the glory? Are we remembering they did this? No, we're remembering the suffering that we went through. This is the other thing also in Islam, that we have those holy days and nights. Most of it, when you look, for example, Ramadan, it is going through difficulty. And then what do you get after that difficulty? You get ease. Children can understand that. Say, you remember how difficult it was? You couldn't eat, you couldn't drink, and then after that, you feel very happy because you become very strong. You can control it. And then the happiness that comes to you, when you break your fast, the happiness comes to you on the day of Eid. You cannot compare it anywhere, at any time. The Qurban is about the suffering. The Mi'raj is about the suffering of the community and the suffering of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And he was so, I don't want to use the word depressed, but he was very sad. It was one of his most sad times. And he's not sad for himself. He's not sad because Allah is not helping me. He's sad because of the people that are around him and they're not listening to him. He's trying to take them to paradise and they're not listening to him. And he's sad because his own family insists on being in hell. So once you teach your children these things, not just Eid is to eat, Bayram, Qurban is just to eat meat and everything is just to enjoy, but you're giving them the real picture of what these holy days and nights are, and then that time they can approach a life knowing that this life, there is suffering and there is happiness. That suffering is not something that is alien to this life. Suffering is not something that is traumatic, that they cannot function. It is important. Because anything that has meaning, you have to struggle. Anything that has any meaning in it, you have to struggle. Even if you want to make tea and you want to have the best tea, the best meaning in that tea, you have to struggle. It doesn't come just like that. Once slowly you are teaching your children this, they're going to learn the lesson. They're not just going to feel what it is. Allah make it easy. Assalamu alaikum.